take him from capture. And then next in chapter 19, we see him, he's still at Sodom. Sometimes when God tells us, you have to stop that. The consequences that some Christians go through because of their sin, even after learning the hard way, they still continue to go through that own sin. And then number 3, and it says, and in verse 1, chapter 19, and there came 2 angels of Sodom at even, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom. And Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face toward the ground. See, we see here Lot, after going through his consequences, being captured because of his pitching of his tent towards Sodom, we see him being back, but not just being there, but also being a great man in Sodom. Being a great man in this wicked, sinful place. As it says, and Lot sat in the gates of Sodom. Now back in those days, being a gatekeeper of a city was pretty big, as it was like the only entrance you could go into a city. And then yes, okay. And then we have, okay, let's do the illustration now. Okay, so basically in conclusion, the Christian becomes ineffective, has his testimony ruined, because first, he does not have God guide him in his ways. Number 2, he still continues to sin despite going through its consequences, despite learning the hard way. And number 3, becomes part of the world. He becomes so indistinguishable from the world that you can't even distinguish him from any unsaved sinner. And why is this? In conclusion, I want to go to 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1. And it says, "This know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, and holy." First, I'd like to note in verse 2 in the beginning, it says, for men. It does not say the unsaved sinners. It does not say the world. It says men, implying that saved and unsaved sinners alike. So continuing in verse 3, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, and this one, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such turning. The main reason why Lot even got into that position in the first place, main reason why Lot got his testimony ruined in the first place, is because he was a lover of pleasure rather than a lover of God. Lot lifted up his eyes, and he saw everything that was nice, saw everything that was good, everything that was pleasurable to his own eyes. Instead of going to God and asking God for advice, for wisdom, for guidance, to lead his everyday decision and where he should go. As you can see, he literally, after choosing this, he dwelled in the cities of the plain and pitched his tent towards Sodom. And also, after going through all these consequences, going all through these hard things, he still goes back to Sodom because he is a lover of pleasures. He wants to go back to whatever looks nice, to whatever looks good. And even chapter 19, where he even becomes a great man of this sinful city, where he becomes a great man of Sodom. And when he eventually goes to his relatives and said, "Up, get you out of this place, for the Lord will destroy this city," but he seemed as one that walked into his sons-in-law. Imagine, one day, okay, a guy, okay, he's smoking. He has tattoos all over his face and his arms, right? And after that, he's like, got like these packets of drugs in his like pocket. And he goes up to you, "Hey man, stop doing drugs." Is that helpful? No, because look at him. His testimony is that he does drugs every day, and that who is he to speak of if he can't even correct himself? So, in conclusion, don't be lovers of pleasures, but be lovers of God. Amen.